No matter how you're approaching 2024, electric e-bikes can help you go the distance. From commutes to adventures, riders of all abilities can explore the new year with electric e-bikes. Explore 2024 with electric e-bikes, the most accessible and adventurous e-bikes ever. Visit electricebikes.com to learn more, and be sure to mention the I Don't Know About That podcast with Jim Jeffries and send you in the post-checkout survey.
Tell them that we sent you in the post-checkout survey.
This is the best read I've ever done. Don't stop me now. That's LECTRIC ebikes.com.
That was really good.
Great. That was the pre-roll. That was the 15-second ad.
I think you need glasses. That was the best you've ever read.
No, I definitely read better with glasses.
Yeah, you should probably wear them.
We had a murder mystery night the other night. I couldn't. They have script bits and I can't read it. I should be wearing glasses all the time, but I'm so fucking handsome, man. Oh, we're doing the song. Carpet. Chairs. Which holds which up? You might find out, and I don't know about that with Jim Jeffries. We're live at Flappers, everyone. Give a rally on the drums. Yes, hello, welcome to our second live podcast. I'm here with Forrest Shaw and Jack Hackett. We're at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank. The first one did very well. We did Titanic, and that went down great. I didn't prepare that. That was just fucking, I'm that good.
Anything happened this week?
What happened this week?
I don't know.
But the hemorrhoid happened, but we covered that.
We can talk about it again.
Is that you want to talk about?
I wasn't referring to that. But
I was at my kid's baseball game this week. And I was at the practice, and I was helping. Well, I'm not very good at sports, right? The other dads are all throwing the balls and going, Johnny, stay in the box, and all that. And I'm like, I don't know. So what I do is, I act like a ball boy. I just go around and gather all the misfit balls and put them back in the bucket, so I'm useful. So I've been walking around a lot. Now, previously that day, I had a hemorrhoid burst when I was having a shit, and it had ruined the bathroom, this thing. And I went and had a shower. I pushed back in what I thought I'd pushed back in. Then I went to... Now, when you shit yourself, which I didn't, when you shit yourself, you get a little alarm that something bad's happened. In the form of a smell, you go, oh, I better run to safety. But when a hemorrhoid pops and you lose about a quarter of a pint of blood and your pants look like a Japanese flag, there's no...
You don't want to show them, do you?
You can show the picture.
Oh, really? You want to?
Yeah, because if I don't show the general public, but show the people in the room so the listeners can go, oh my God.
Just in this room?
Yeah, just this room. I don't want the world to see.
So just my phone?
Yeah, just your phone.
Those are the...
Yeah.
We apologize to everyone eating.
Yeah, now...
I was at the Clippers Lakers game, and I had a hemorrhoid pop and blood all over my pants at Hank's baseball practice. I go, was it showing? And then that picture just popped up. It says, you tell me.
I just wanted an honest opinion because maybe no one noticed. But that happened last week. I had to go to my son's baseball game this afternoon and just see all the dads like this. Hey. Because no one said anything, so I can't be the one to bring it up. I can't walk up to one of the dads and go, the other day we were at practice, did you notice anything different about me? In the downstairs, no, so they all know, I know, they know that I know that they know, and we all have to just stare at each other. I had a lot of blood pouring out of my anus one day.
But you felt better. You said you felt better.
Oh, man, it was a relief. If anyone's ever had a hemorrhoid that was really fucking thing and then it pops, woo! That's like putting on tight shoes and taking them off again. Fantastic.
Most people are getting their food right now, by the way, too, so that's pretty good timing, I think. You guys enjoying that pizza? So
we're ready to... Should we promote some gigs we're doing? Because people actually have to hear the gigs. Do the gigs.
Where are you going to be? Des Moines, Iowa?
I'm sure.
No,
This is my life. I look 1 week ahead of my life. I let everyone else do anything around me, and then I look 1 week ahead, and I go like this, and I go, where am I going this week? Oh, yeah.
And we're not promoting it for you. Other people will be listening to this, obviously.
Des Moines was a great crowd, but that theatre has a fucking bat in it.
Yeah.
And if they haven't caught that fucking bat...
Tell the bat story.
There's a bat... I'm sure I've told this story before. In Des Moines, Iowa, the same fucking theatre, there's your audience... I'm performing, everything's going okay, and then the audience goes, oh! Like that. Because that's what everyone does when they see a bat come out of nowhere. So this bat came out and started flapping around, and I said this to the audience, just ignore it. And I'll keep telling jokes and we'll be fine. I did that for a while. I did as much material as I could with the fucking bat. I tried doing it. The audience couldn't focus. I went, we have to stop the show until the fucking bat goes away. I'm really sorry.
No, then they put the curtain.
Yeah, I said, I had to go up to him and said, come here, shut the curtain. Right? I'll perform in the little bit in the front of the curtain. You can keep the bats contained. Right? With behind the fucking curtain. Right? And they said, good idea, Jim. And then they shut the curtain and I went back to doing the gig. The gig was going fine. But it sounded like the Three Stooges were doing a job behind me. There was things smashing and cracking and fucking people fall. I think I heard a knuck, knuck, knuck. Right? So this guy comes in from the back of the room and he has one of those big fucking butterfly nets. You know, the ones with a big stick with a hoop on the end, with a really long fucking net to catch butterflies, but a bit bigger, one that has obviously been custom made to catch bats. And this guy runs in and he goes, sorry, Jim, this has never happened before.
So come out if you want to see the bats in Des Moines, Iowa, March 22nd.
I told that story somewhere, and someone wrote from the theatre and said, there's still bats.
Oh, yeah. That's an old building with chimneys. Yeah, it's not going away. March 23rd, Kansas City, Missouri. Then you're in South Africa, Spokane, Washington, Denver, Colorado, and so on. Go to jimjeffries.com. And come see me, too. I'll be in Sydney, Australia on April 24th and 26th.
Oh, if you're listening in Melbourne, Australia, there'll be some secret gigs coming up that me and Forrest are going to be performing on in April. So that's worth looking at.
And if you're here at Flappers, you're probably not going to these gigs, but thanks for coming out. It's a long flight. IDCAP Podcast on Instagram.
Challenge
accepted. What's that?
Challenge accepted.
Okay, yeah, come on down. Right. Yeah, tickets, link on my website. Come on. Jack, you want to promote anything?
Check out my band, the Doohickeys.
Great promoter.
It's really not the noise you make for the
find them somewhere. Where do they find you?
Huh?
Where do they find you?
Instagram, the.doohickeys, or go to the doohickeysband.com.
They're good to Doohickeys. The Doohickeys open for me at the Ryman Theatre, which is the Grand Old Opry, which means something to people in the South. And they open there. Fucking people love the Doohickeys.
Yeah, we can start now.
Oh, okay.
You want to introduce our guests, or you
can do it. It's your job.
When do you want to do this ad? We don't normally read the ads here, but
I'll do the ad at the end.
Okay,
yeah, we'll do the ad.
It's a funny one. All right. Our guest she's been on the show more than any other guest. This will be her 4th time. We love her. Please welcome Dawn Brody.
Come on, give her a rally on the drums. In comes Dawn. Oh, she's a likely lad. Here we go. Very excited to have you back on. You did. Dawn did our Titanic podcast. Have you heard that one live? Also, Frankenstein, which is one of my favourite podcasts we ever did. I still haven't read Frankenstein. You gave me the book, and it was really nice. You gave it to me.
In your trunk. You
gave it to me with the idea that I've read books before, and I couldn't let you down in person. I was like, I've read 2 books. One of them was Back to the Future 2. the novelisation of when I was...
Okay.
Because what happened was, in Australia, it used to take a very long time before we got movies. Americans would watch movies, and then the canisters would sit there, and then eventually they would get down to Australia. And there'd be always one cunt of a kid who had gone on holiday to fucking America and comes back like this, and he's like, Luke Skywalker has a green lightsaber. And you're like, cunt, right? I'll find that out in 4 months. Right? So I didn't want to wait 4 months to see Back to the Future 2, so they had a book of Back to the Future 2, and I read that. Also, about 7 years ago, for whatever reason, I read Chevy Chase's biography.
7 years ago?
About that.
Oh, okay.
It took 2 years, but I got through the fucking
What
thing.
was your big takeaway?
His mum and my mum were very similar people. And he seemed a bit grumpy.
Well, thanks for being here, Don.
Anyway, what I'm saying is thank you for the gift of Frankenstein the book, but it's on my list of things to read.
It's in good company on your bookshelf, clearly.
No.
I have so many
It's in the
fucking...
trunk of his car.
I have so many...
Yeah.
I have
That's how
so...
he's going to read it, yeah.
That's good. So when the earthquake, you're
No, but it
trapped
was-
under rubble, you'll
It
have
was such
your
a
tips.
sweet gift, and I look at it every day and I think to myself, I'm going to read that.
Yeah, he gave me a ride home from the podcast the other day, and I knew you were going to be on this podcast, and I put my stuff in the trunk. I'm like, oh, there's the book Don gave him. I'll read that someday. But yeah, you see it in the trunk.
I don't read. It's nothing against you, personally.
All right, well, we're not doing Frankenstein today.
I don't like people who do read. I find them to be pretentious. Sorry, Don.
We're not
Don't
doing...
you, when you find some cunt and you watch a movie and you go, you like the movie, the book was way better. Fuck off. What are you talking about? You read the word dragon. I saw a fucking dragon. There's no way that what you read was better. No fucking way.
How did Back to the Future 2 stand up when you finally saw it?
When you read it in the book and you picture a flying car, you picture it, but you don't see you just see a car going up like this. You don't see the fucking wheels doing that. Yeah, it blew my fucking mind when I saw it. Also, I'm very dyslexic, so every character in a book that I read is a simpleton. Every character is walking around like this. Hey, Doc! Where's the DeLorean? So it's just not enjoyable for me. Movies, am I right?
All right,
Okay.
so what's Don here to talk about today?
Okay, Dawn. So Dawn knows.
No, we have a little song. I don't know if you know
Oh,
how to
okay.
get this podcast.
Yes, no,
There you go.
yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Judging a book by its cover.
We didn't spare on the font. Glad we trademarked that. What we did, trademark should trademark that font because it's the same font. Fucking hell, Jack, you've had all day. I gave you one job. All right. Is it cave paintings? All right. So, you like books? You're a person of
Very pretentious.
you're a person of literature and history. You have told us about Frankenstein. We've learned about the fun Dracula. I remember Dracula was written on the same day as Frankenstein. It's one of my favourite things in the world. That
He tells it to a lot of people.
I tell it to everyone. It makes me seem interesting. It's good because when you're a little bit autistic, it's good to have things like that to just throw at people.
Jack has a hint.
Oh, okay. Paper aeroplane. Or maybe that's what Jack thought was an actual fucking plane that you built. Because the font and that was both...
Yeah, you were supposed to
Okay.
fly it around for a while.
Oh, and then it
Let
hits in the
guess,
water?
And then it went low.
He was too busy making fun of me.
Oh, Amelia Earhart.
That's it. You got it.
That's fucking easy. Well, how many more clues did you have?
Well, no, you were
That was
supposed
it.
to fly it around, and then you were supposed to say some bullshit about airplanes, and then crash it, but he just panicked
Started
and
making
put it
fun
in
of
the
my
water.
font again.
I'm not going to know a lot about this because this isn't one of the books I've read. And I haven't even watched the documentary on it. I don't know a lot about Amelia Earhart.
Well, we're going to learn.
I'm going to assume she had a pronoun or two. I don't know.
All right. Let's start then. Don Brody has a degree
Is
in
that
history.
bad? I don't know. Am I just judging a haircut? What's going on?
Just keep throwing gas on it. Do it, yeah.
A lot of people have been writing the podcast was better when Kelly was here because she kept me in check, and now I've been let loose into the wild.
Say hi, Kelly. Kelly's over
Kelly's
there.
over there. She's going to work. So
Yep. Don Brody has a degree in history and theater from the University of Minnesota and is a researcher for several museums. She has appeared on the History Channel series Crazy Rich Ancients and History's Greatest Mysteries. Come on, that's not. Okay, History's Greatest Mysteries. See her on this current season, new episodes every Monday, and she also has a great podcast called History I'd Like to Fuck. Check that out. It's a really fun podcast. And on Instagram, find her at Don_Brody and at Hilf Podcast. Thanks for being here again.
Thanks. I love it. Thank you.
Really listen to that podcast. If you like history and like learning about all sorts of cool things, it's a great podcast. I'm on an episode.
It's true. You're the next new episode is first.
I feel like our podcast is like the boy band of podcasts. Like you just said, if you're interested in history, listen to that, right? And our podcast is like, shit. Like you learn. If you want to learn this much, come to our show, and maybe that'll get you into learning. It's like boy bands that'll get you into music. Then you'll buy some good albums eventually, right? Come to us to learn one thing.
It's a gateway podcast.
Yes, yeah. We're a joint being handed around a party.
I'm gonna.
You're a
ask,
crack den.
I love it. The crack of dawn.
I'm gonna ask Jim a series of questions about Amelia Earhart, and at the end of him answering these questions, Don, you're gonna grade him on his accuracy 0 through 10. Jack is gonna grade him on confidence. I'm gonna grade him on how hungry I am, and then we're gonna add all those scores together. And if you score 21 through 30, you're a mouth kidney.
A mouth kidney.
This is another puzzle. Do you get it?
No.
Earhart.
Oh, okay.
You hear that?
You had all day as well. Fuck, hell.
11 through 20, eye, spleen. 0 through 10, nose, colon. I think that's what you want to get. Oh, now it's funny? Fuck you guys.
It's just
they'll do it for
you were
us.
ahead of your time, man.
Look, I got
At the beginning, they thought it was shit, and their history has proven different. They love that joke.
This is the worst part of the podcast for me, is making these categories. I hate it.
Yeah. We're not having a picnic over here hearing him.
Hey, nose colon was pretty good. That's all I was saying. That's why I saved it for last. All right, first question. The Wright brothers flew the first plane in 1903. How old was Amelia Earhart at the time?
Oh.
You can see it up there.
Yeah, no, I can see. Yeah, I'm reading it.
Okay. It's up here.
I'm a fucking game show host. I know how to do this. The Wright brothers flew the first plane in 1903. How old was Amelia Earhart at the time? Now, I
How
gotta
old
look.
was she?
And your
Yeah.
clock starts now.
How old was she in that picture? And then I'll tell you. I'll work backwards.
I don't know. I have no clue, yeah.
Yeah, because she could have been anything from 90 to 70. They looked old back then. No one knew what anyone's age was.
So in 1903, how old was
She would have been 8 years old, I reckon.
she? Okay. When and why did Amelia Earhart first get into a plane?
Well, to get over there. Wherever over there may be, but there was a reason for it. Yeah. We have to get there quicker than walking. Come with me, Amelia. It's imperative.
That's your answer?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she had to get a distance in a short amount of time.
Who was Amelia Earhart's first flight instructor?
One of the Wright brothers. I'll say Orville.
Orville? Okay.
Orville at that stage would have been about 60-something years old. He used to show up, he used to look at Amelia and goes, I'm getting too old for this shit. Back in my day, women wouldn't be flying.
Who was the other raper?
And we're
I
like,
don't remember
fucking
his
hell,
name.
Orville, calm the fuck down. And some people are like, he's at that age, they have opinions.
All right, Amelia worked several odd jobs to save up for her first plane. What was one of her jobs?
Odd jobs.
Yeah.
Oh, so it had to be something odd. We used to walk around with a camel head on and take photos with people. That was one odd job.
One of them.
No, okay. What did she do as an odd job? I'll say she was a waitress. And I'll say she also worked in a chocolate factory. Like Jeffrey Dahmer. He worked as a waiter.
I don't even want to ask this.
I went
next
2
question.
steps
Just-
forward in that joke.
We'll ask it. I already know what you're going to say. Amelia buys her first plane in 1921. Describe it.
1921.
Describe the plane.
She was 8 years old in 1908. Fuck, I think I nailed that. Buys her first plane in 1921. Describe it. Hey there, mister. Describing the scene. I've been working a lot as a waitress and doing work with camel heads and taking photos with cunts. And I can say cunts because I'm advanced for my time.
He's describing her buying it, not
Yeah.
the plane. Yeah.
Can I buy that plane? And then he would have gone, well, little Philip, shouldn't your husband been helping you do this? And she's like, fuck you. I'm Amelia Earhart. And then he's like, I don't give a fuck, just give me the money. And then she bought the plane.
That was very confident.
I described it perfectly.
Yeah.
And the plane, if you want me to describe the plane,
Sure. Yeah, do that.
2 wings. Not one of those old planes that they tried out. You know those planes where they put fucking 20 wings on top of each other? And they push it down the runway, the one with the 20 wings? And even like you see it as a child. I'm showing it to my 2-year-old and he's like, no. No, but some fucking prick back then went, well, if 2 wings is good, imagine 20. Anyway, so it wasn't one of those. It would have been split wing, so that was 4 wings, Red Baron style.
Okay.
She probably painted AE on the wing or something.
What for?
To get laid.
Okay.
Because there's no point being famous if people don't fucking know. So,
Where did Amelia fly her first plane? What did she use it for?
get over there.
No, don't answer that. You know what we're
Where
going
did
for.
she fly her first plane? And
What did
where
she use it for?
I don't even know where she was fucking from, mate. I don't know if she was British, American, or
Where was
fucking
she from,
Colombian. Don't tell me. I've got to figure this out.
Question.
I'm
a
going to
question.
suspect that Amelia
Yep.
is an American.
Yes.
Do you want to know why? Because her name's a bit dumb. Right? If she was British, she'd be fucking Amy. Amy Miller. Yeah, that's all she'd be. Not Amelia. So she's American.
American, Kansas.
Hey, you shouldn't have told me now I know too much. I could pass a whole fucking exam with this much knowledge. She had to learn to fly because of the constant twisters and the weather patterns that only exists in motherfucking Kansas. So she had to fly because of those things, right? So the first time she used it was to get away from a twister. down to Daytona Beach, Florida. Spring break, baby. Where Amelia Earhart was just fucking topless and getting beats. I don't even know what happens down there.
He's gonna have a really good score.
Crazy.
I should have gotten a bigger pencil.
There's so many questions left.
Keep going.
We keep going. Hey, look. People paid to be here. We gotta give them.
My answers come to life in front of a crowd. It turns out that you two aren't receptive enough. I'd put more effort into the normal one if I knew I'd get laughs, but...
Amelia breaks her first flying record in October of 1922. What was it?
It was probably a speed record as she smashed into the water. So I'm going to go with the speed record. As she fucking smashed into the water.
Got it. And then why did she become internationally famous? What was the incident or the...
Yeah, it's similar thing to the first answer. But she was the first woman to fly, I'm going to say the Atlantic.
Across the Atlantic?
Across the Atlantic. She was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic. She was going to go land there in England. Probably London. She wouldn't have gone into the north. It scared them back then. The Northern Englanders would have thought that was a fucking UFO lake. Oh, why, hey man, this fucking thing with a lady's head sticking out the top of it was fucking coming at me like.
All right.
I saw it in a puddle. It was underground as well.
Okay, so one of the things...
Don't fast forward, Jack. Don't let him bully you around.
No,
I answer all the fucking questions.
If you had a picture. No. One of the things the newspapers always mentioned was Amelia Earhart's uncanny resemblance to whom? And here's a picture again, if you need to look at it.
Yeah.
What did she look like?
Yeah. I was going to say her sister. I'm going to say her sister, Tammy Earhart.
Okay.
One of the greatest bridge players of all time. But overshadowed by her sister. What's her name?
Fucking bridge.
Yeah, back then, well, there's no fucking telly, man. To be a good bridge player was fucking a thing that people... It was like being the best at COD.
No. I thought it was a good pool. Thought it was a good answer. Yeah.
She's also good at that game with the ball on the wooden... I've got one of these. It's got a scoop on the end and a ball, a wooden ball and a stick. And I stand in front of my 2-year-old like I'm from the 1920s. I'm the best in the house at it, at the wooden scoop. I also have a stick that I roll down the hill when I play Catch the Can. I'm very old. This top of this ad read says, host ad-lib, how you are moving into 2024. Are you tiptoeing in or ready to hit the throttle? I can ad-lib this.
Yeah, start over. Go right now.
Man.
How's your 2024?
No, you don't ask me. I just... Hey, Forrest, you know, man, 2024, what is it, like March?
Yeah.
It is.
I'm coming in full throttle. Do you want to know how I'm coming in full throttle?
Yeah.
Because of electric e-bikes.
Yep.
No matter how you're approaching 2024, electric e-bikes can help you go the distance from commutes to adventures. If you're here and you want to go there with less energy than a fucking pedal bike, you're going to want an electric e-bike. It's the great middle point between a bike and a motorbike. I'm telling you, I've got one. They sent me one. It's changed everything.
I got one too. It's awesome.
Forrest rides around with his... Forrest rides around with his dog strapped onto his back.
Yeah, there's Arnie.
That's it. Arnie has no bottom half. It's just that bit. 2 legs and a body. His bottom half was cut off. He looks very cute in this, but out in the wild just scratching along his amputee belly. He doesn't even have a hold of shit. It's very tragic.
That goes at the bottom of the back. The shit, I got a hole cut there. It's nice.
From commutes to adventures, riders of all abilities can explore the new year with electric e-bikes. Go to electricebikes.com to learn more about their wide selection of e-bikes that start at just $7.99 with the XP Lite. That's electric, Lectric, ebikes.com.
We just did personal endorsement. So
We are doing another personal endorsement. I went to the shops in it the other day. Way faster than walking.
Killer.
That felt real.
It is. I'll be honest. It is.
No, it is.
It is the
awesome, yeah.
easiest ride in the world. Like what I could have done with one of these as a kid.
Yeah, you pedal like this fast, and then you're going 20 miles an hour. So,
Yeah.
it's great. Wear a helmet.
It's good. Forrest is riding again. E-bikes.
We've done it already.
Anyone can ride. Look at Forrest. He rides.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
You're old. Old people don't do things.
Okay.
I do because I'm young and
Wearing my
dynamic
glasses.
and I don't need glasses. Durable features and accessories and added safety, convenience and control. Save on gas, parking and maintenance. Financing as low as $49 a month. So you don't need to have $7.99. You can just have $49 a month and you'll be e-riding. Get started on adventures is easier than ever. Shipping. Hey, I'll tell you what it costs. Nothing. Nothing. It ships for free. Hey, and I know what you're thinking. How do I assemble it? You don't have to. It's already assembled. And foldable and easy for storage. As long as you have that much space, you're good to go. Some safety regulations and road access are for regular bikes. In most states, licenses, registrations and inspection are not required, but check the laws in your area.
Just go to the call to action at the end.
Yeah.
Add more physical activity to your everyday life, run errands, make commuting more enjoyable, or expand your weekend horizons with up to, how many miles do you reckon you get on one charge? Probably 15 miles. And that's what it says here. What? 150 miles in one charge. That's Lectric's unbeatable long-range options. Explore 2024 with electric bikes, the most accessible and adventurous e-bikes ever. Visit electricbikes.com to learn more and to be sure to mention that I don't know about that podcast with Jeffries. Wow. Sent you in the post-checkout survey.
This is real.
What did I say? Is that what I said?
Yeah,
did I say that correctly?
No,
did that make sense? Did
Good.
I emphasise the right words in the right places?
You did great. Don't worry about it. Keep
You're
going. One sentence left.
Okay,
We're almost
that's Electric. Lectric. ebikes.com. Carry on.
So Amelia endorses and appears in ads for a number of products. One gets her in trouble and stirred controversy. What was the product? What was it?
Well, so I'm not saying this to be funny, but like sanitary pad ads probably didn't exist at all. And we probably just ignored that as a thing. Like we probably sold them in some room up the back. But I'm going to say sanitary pads, man.
Okay. When Amelia, now an international celebrity, first flew across the U.S., she discovered a new hazard on America's runways. What was it?
No, that answer will get me in trouble. No. Everything will get cancelled. You, the podcast.
I'll let the audience just say
It was
it.
on the runway.
It doesn't matter for us what I was going to say. It doesn't matter. She goes. My mind's blank. She discovered a new hazard on America's runways. What was it? I'm going to say birds.
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 Was
Pigeons.
Was she ever married?
I don't know if it was legal back then. I voted for it. Don't get into me. I fucking campaigned for it. Big fan. Everyone should be miserable. All of us. But I'll say yes. Yes.
Okay. Where did Amelia Earhart land at the end of her transatlantic solo flight?
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. She landed in London.
In the water.
And then,
Yeah, it's always raining there, am I right?
okay, and then the second part of the question, who were the first people to see her?
Diving crew?
I feel like she had a couple successful flights, otherwise...
Oh,
yeah.
she had the successful one.
Yeah.
This is her first one then.
Yeah.
Who were the first people to see her? I'll say it was the king and... It would have been, back then it would have been the king... We'll say the king and queen. The king and queen were there. That would have been fucking... Birdie, but that would have been before... That would have been before... Birdie would have still been alive. The stuttering, the King's Speech cunt. That cunt was there. Fucking Australian bloke came in and went, I'll teach you how to talk, cunt. And then he was like, I gotta do good, you fucking... It's a brilliant movie.
The transatlantic solo flight was not easy, and she almost didn't make it. What were some of her challenges during the crossing?
That first bit sounds like a lyric from Journey.
I can't do the
Almost
voice.
didn't make it. The transatlantic solo flight was easy. What were some of her challenges during crossing?
Yeah.
I'm going to say
Birds.
she was mildly dyslexic. And at times the gauges switched back. Also, she had a spot of attention deficit disorder, which was very obvious at the end of her life.
All right, Amelia Earhart made a little money flying and a lot of money endorsing products, but she made most of her money how?
Don't know. We all do it, in some way or another. Well, money how? Endorsing product. So did she like endorse products like infomercials or just
she made
like
a little
straight
bit
up?
flying, some endorsing products, but she made most of her money this other way.
Gardening.
Yeah.
Well, what else did people have back then? That's your only possession. Is your fucking garden. Everything else is just a room. Unless she was in construction. She was in fucking gardening, man. That's what everyone was in. Or tailoring.
How do you make money gardening?
People need a gardener.
Oh, doing that. I thought you meant in her.
I have them. I have a gardener. Maybe. I don't want to seem out of touch, but maybe she was a pool guy.
That'd be cool. Yeah. All right. What was Amelia Earhart attempting to do when she was lost? Now this is the question.
What was she attempting to do when she was lost?
Yeah. When she actually.
Texting her husband that he'd done something wrong.
How far into her journey was she when she was lost?
I am joking. I know there were no mobile phones back then. So I know that didn't happen. But the feeling remains.
How far into her journey was she when she was lost?
Oh, only about... she was about a 3 hour tour. She would have been... The weather started getting rough.
3 hours.
You know, we've been lost for 3 hours. Times my aeroplane was slow. 70 miles an hour. She was fucking at 2,100 miles out fucking from her journey.
Wait, you think 70 times 3 is 2,100?
70 times 3.
210. Is that your answer?
All right, I don't give a fuck. You reckon like I give a fuck? I don't give a fuck. That's you fucking proved me wrong.
Couple more questions. All right, what was unusual or difficult about where she was attempting to land?
Probably understanding the thick accent. Because people didn't travel much back then.
Yeah.
So when she lands there and the king comes up and he's like, and they're like, she's like, was that a word? It was very challenging for her.
All right, when her plane vanished, Amelia Earhart was not alone. Who was with her?
The hearts and minds of any child who'd ever dreamt to dream. The hearts and minds of children everywhere.
Sure. Yeah.
And Rock Hudson.
Wow.
It's true. We don't know where he went.
Yeah.
We know where Rock Hudson went. His death was quite famous, Jack. Don't worry, you're fine.
All right, last question. A popular
Because you get
conspiracy,
it from fucking and Jack doesn't.
a popular conspiracy
Sorry,
theory
Jackson.
suggested that Amelia Earhart didn't die but was captured by the Japanese. Who was the first to suggest this theory?
The Chinese, probably.
Check so.
Those two have never gotten along historically, so I reckon they probably put the rumour out there. It's where we get the term Chinese whispers.
We don't know that in this country.
I know, but people in Australia are laughing their ass off right now. In the rest of the world, you know the game telephone?
Yeah.
Everywhere else in the world calls that Chinese whispers. I understand that it has to be racist. I'm just not sure how.
Yeah, I don't know how either. But
every time I say it in front of Americans, I get real bad looks. And then they try to repeat it to their friend and they say it wrong. And then they try to repeat it to someone and they say it wrong. And then they try to repeat it to someone and then it comes back to me and they're like, it's fucking telephone.
all right, Don, how did Jim do on his knowledge of Amelia Earhart? 0 through 10. 10's the best.
I know I'm not the one who judges on confidence, but he was very confident.
Thank you, I'm a little high.
Which is good because it was factually pretty terrible. It was historically. I mean, I never know exactly what number to give. I know I should be more prepared.
The real
Super
one.
important.
A number, but I would be like, if it was a
I
test.
knew lady, dead, Atlantic.
Yeah.
Fucking, I nailed that.
Rock Hudson.
There's some you did. You did. Can I tell you one you did? The first one.
Yeah.
The first question. How old was she?
Yeah.
You were really, really close.
Boom.
Yeah. You were really close. The rest of them were horseshit.
Well, what was the first one? What was the first answer? Oh, we got to get the score first. Fuck. All right, this goes to rating.
But I am also a teacher who slugs whiskey throughout the exam, so I can be generous. This is a solid D. And D's get degrees.
That's better than anything I got in fucking high school, man.
Yeah, that's a D.
I'm happy with that.
It's
We need a number.
generous.
Don. All right, let's go. 0
And
through
you
10.
need it 0 through 10.
Yeah.
3.5.
3.5. How confident was he, Jack?
He lost me at one point because one question goes, I don't know. But then, when you were challenged on your math, you said, I don't give a fuck. So 10.
Yeah. That's going out to all the kids out there who feel stupid in school, right? I'm there with you all the way. The other kids will turn to you and say, that's wildly wrong. And you know what? You look them in the eye and you say, I don't give a fuck. Right? That'll get you through so many awkward situations in your life. People get so fucking startled when you just look them in the eye and go, I don't give a fuck.
We were startled.
I've noticed that this is something, okay, for all the British and Australian people who are listening, and our South African friends. For all of you, right now we're in a comedy club, and only in America, in a comedy club, people buy cookies and milk. The rest of the world is getting fucking hammered drunk. Hammered drunk, and you've got these tables that say 2 drink minimum. And no one has a 2 cookie minimum. They know you'll fucking buy them.
They're fresh baked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it like it's fucking good, but you know why you have the problem you have, America. Don't fucking go, we can't figure it out. It's cookies at comedy. That's what it is, people. I want one really bad, but can I have it afterwards? Otherwise, people hate hearing me eat during the podcast. I've done it before. It's very upsetting to people.
So that's 13.5 points. I'm not that hungry, so like -4. So you're nose colon. There you go.
Nose colon.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Nose colon.
So how old was she when the Wright brothers flew the first plane in 1903? Jim said 8.
She was 6.
Yeah, but life was harder back then.
Yeah, that's right.
She would have looked like an 8
She had like a day break.
with her rickets and
Yeah.
What are rickets?
fucking, I don't know. Back in the day, Emilio Earhart had
disease,
polio
yeah.
and rickets and shit.
Yeah, I have no clue what rickets are.
That's the thing.
Like that.
Nothing makes me sound older in this world, right, than this sentence. My mother had polio. As soon as I say that, younger women look at me like I'm in black and white and all fuzzy. My wife can't get over it. She tells her friends, she's like, his mum had polio. Like, how old is this cunt you live with? Anyway.
The warning signs of rickets. Do you know what that? Want to know what
Is it
that is?
arthritis? Is it just
It's
another
bad.
arthritis?
Bone fractures,
Ew.
stunted growth, pain or
Ew.
tenderness.
That's why she had to get in the plane.
Teeth deformities. Don't get rickets.
Yikes.
All right, everyone, moving forward in your life, don't get rickets. Of course, I'm
away.
only speaking to the unvaccinated people in this room.
I don't
Political,
know how-
am
know
I?
How you get rickets? How do you think you get rickets?
Oh, leaving things, meat in your backyard.
Lack of nutrition.
Lack of vitamin D or calcium is the most common
Is
cause
it-
of rickets.
It's related to scurvy.
Oh, I ate lots of cheese. I shouldn't. I've shit myself every time, but I do.
No rickets. When and why did Amelia Earhart first get into a plane? You said it was quicker than walking.
That didn't get me a fucking point.
It did not. No.
Like I give a fuck.
Well, planes were new. The 1903 Wright brothers flight was the first flight. But then World War I, of course, people got real accustomed to planes awfully fast. And then when the war was over, we didn't think we'd need planes again. And so they were just sort of... what are
When
we
you
gonna
say
jump
we,
these?
who is we?
We is, generally speaking, the lowercase italics American public. The government wasn't stashing them.
What did the Australians think?
I'll get back to you.
We would have been well into planes.
Very excited. But people weren't.
We didn't have fucking roads.
Right. Well, that was exactly it.
We would have been over the moon.
Very excited. They miscalculated.
I went to Brisbane. It was so different. You wouldn't believe it. The temperature change alone.
They were
anyway,
doing air shows. They were
I just-
trying to show off what these planes could do to the general public. So she saw a plane for the first time in Long Beach when her dad took her to an air show. And it was nuts, like people walking on the wings and stuff like that, to like get people excited about airplanes so that we can do something with all these fucking things. And apparently a plane dive bombed her to scare her, and then like pulled away last minute, and she just sort of stood there mesmerized and was like, these are fucking great. And her dad got her a flight lesson the next day off of Wilshire. in
How old
LA.
was she then? How old was she at this event?
She was 19.
19.
Oh, right here, you're saying?
Yeah, there's a lot of local.
Oh, she's from LA.
She had a house in Toluca Lake. She
All right.
yeah, she had a house less
Toluca
than
Lake
5
represent.
miles.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought she was from Kansas.
She was born and raised in Kansas. Her family moved all over the place, but planes and Hollywood, man, hit in the 20s in LA at the same time.
So, you want to buy a plane? That's the voice I should have used.
Yeah,
When did people speak like this and then they stopped?
the first sound in film was in 1927, and that was the same year that Charles Lindbergh flew the Atlantic.
Lenny.
Lenny.
Who was Amelia?
Who was he again?
Charles Lindbergh. Charles Lindbergh was
Like, you think I don't fucking know who he was?
Charles Lindbergh was the first person to fly across the Atlantic.
At least my lack of knowledge isn't sexist.
It's not. That's good.
I forget everyone equally.
All right, so who was Amelia Earhart's first flight instructor? He said Orville of the Wright brothers.
Yeah, that was a point.
No. What's cool is that her first flight instructor was also a woman named Netta Snook, and she was this badass broad.
Snooky!
Yeah, her dad took her to this place, and he introduced her to a male pilot, but she saw a woman and said, if I could, I'd rather learn from a woman. And this woman had it, and she thought she was just this kind of elegant tourist, and said, I will teach you for $1 a minute, which is still really expensive, but at the time was astronomical. And
That's like
she
$100 an hour.
went up and yeah, and they became friends. No, this is math. It's hard math. Tough. She flew and did math at the same time.
Amelia worked several odd jobs to save up for her first plane. What was one of her jobs? Jim said waitress and chocolate factory.
Wait a minute, I want to hear more about the woman that
Netta
she...
Snook?
Netta Snook.
Netta Snook. I want to hear more Snooky.
You know what's a bummer about Netta Snook is they were buddies and they flew together. Netta stopped charging her because Amelia was so good. They weren't fucking. Nobody says they were fucking.
That's why I went back to it.
In fact,
I went back to it. Tell it the story. Tell it slowly like a Penthouse Forum magazine from the 90s.
but I will say that it was a bummer
Well,
because
I never took a flight lesson before. But I'd never done a lot of things.
yeah, Netta quit because she got married and had babies, and that was one of many like women
Snooky.
that Amelia saw. Man, once you start having babies, man, they don't let you fly anymore. So Netta was like her first warning.
Where was Netta from?
I don't know originally.
I don't know.
Is she from money or is she? They all sound like they're from money.
No, I don't think she was from money because she was flying sightseeing tours around the bay, and that was her money. Because some of the men who had pilot's license, almost all of them were from the war. They were veterans. So women who wanted to fly had like 4 years to learn, and they had to learn from these often damaged, drunk vets.
Yeah, but
who
I'm
were
saying
just
that's
flying
quite
for
an
fun.
expensive hobby, isn't it? They all come from wealth. There's no one coming from like the real lower class, and it's like, oh, we can't afford soup today, Timmy.
Yeah.
Can I have some flying lessons?
Yeah.
Well, according
Well,
to
of
Netta,
course, I always encourage your endeavours.
according
Sorry
to
about the
Netta's-
rickets.
According to Netta Snook's Wikipedia page, she is from Illinois, Mount Carroll, Illinois, and she was born February 14th, 1896.
Boom. You
So
know
she
who
was
else?
a-
Birthday.
You know who else's
14th,
birthday that
1896.
is? Robbie Williams.
Oh.
He was born on Valentine's Day?
He's born on the 13th. I'm born on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So you know when you look up the different people's birthdays, you go, oh, fuck, I've got no one. I've got no one in my list of famous birthdays. But I go,
You're the person.
Yeah, but Robbie Williams was born on the 13th, and he was born in Britain, I was born in Australia, so it's the same day.
Oh.
So I count him as the same one.
And Netta Snook now.
If you're listening,
And
Rob,
Netta
hello.
Snook, now you know.
All right, so the jobs. She had several odd jobs to save up for her first plane. What was one of her jobs?
Well, she 3 primary ones. None of them were waitressing.
She's
she-
above it, old Richie Rich.
The one that was her favorite is she actually bought a gravel truck.
Where
and
did
would
she get the money to
deliver-
buy a gravel truck
I
from?
know. Well, because
First,
she
you
drove-
meant to work for the cunt who has the truck.
Right. She had.
Until you save up a bit of money, I'll buy my own fucking truck. Stick your job up your fucking ass. I'll be hauling more gravel than you've ever fucking hauled. These blisters on my fingers weren't for nothing. She's fucking rich, Amelia Earhart. She's a rich cunt.
You know
she
what,
comes from a rich... No, I won't hear it. No.
I'll give you that.
No fucking 20-year-old just buys himself a fucking gravel truck because they think, hey, I'm going to get to it. No, fucking... Daddy, can I have a gravel truck? Wow. I've already paid for 77 6 hours of flight lessons. Why the fuck not? Anything else, Amelia? I'm glad she's dead.
Wow.
I'm not having it.
That's fair. I will tell you this. You're half right. I'd give you a C on that answer, actually. Her grandfather was a rich and connected judge, but he cut her mother off when she married her dad. And even after they died, they refused to leave the money to Amelia's family until her father died.
Why didn't they like the dad? What was wrong with the dad?
I know we don't have time. Can you guess? Why don't?
No,
you think,
we have time.
Why don't you think they'd like her dad? What are reasons you don't like?
So
her
he
dad?
was a race or a religion or a nationality.
He was poor. So yeah.
Oh, the worst of all.
Oh, the worst of all. The worst of all.
Oh.
He was a white poor, which was the worst, and the grandfather.
Such a flip-flopper, dude. You're just yelling about Amelia being
I know.
rich.
No, I was impersonating Amelia
So
being
she
upset.
and her poor, and he was handsome, and he was gritty, and when he did have a little money, he'd take her to shit like air shows, and that made her grandfather mad, so they'd cut him off again. So she could suck up to grandpa and get something, but he didn't buy anything for her, and she really had to save all of her own money for all of this.
He bought her a gravel truck.
No.
No. That was the grandfather. That
No,
was
she
rich, yeah.
invested some money from doing very
Where did
dangerous
you
air
get
shows.
the initial money?
No, I'll give you that. She got a little
You have to
additional money.
do a physical activity first. You get the first little bit.
That's true. She did have a little
Oh,
bit
she
of money.
invested in stocks.
she bought a
With
truck.
what?
But she drove the truck and she
Even
delivered the
Eno, so she
gravel
was down.
herself.
She was on the
Yeah,
ground
but she
floor.
owned...
I
we're
know.
going around in circles.
Oh.
What came first, Amelia or that other bird who
Oh,
taught
boy.
her how to fly?
Are you gonna be okay? You want to move on?
I'm having the best time ever.
Okay.
I could do this. This is like more fun than stand-up, really, because every joke's brand new. I'm flying by the skin of my pants. I can say something horrible at any stage and get in huge amounts of trouble.
So she had a dump truck. Any other jobs?
She was a commercial photographer and she was,
She was
a telephone clerk.
She was always on the gram like this, like, I like your photos.
She was a telephone clerk, but most of her money she got from the gravel truck.
Telephone clerks, they were the people that just got the bit of
Yeah.
wire and went like this, right?
Yeah.
I've seen movies. They go like this, where do you want to call? There you are, connecting.
That's her.
Like that. Was there only like 50 people with phones?
Handful.
It's just like, there's just that many holes. You go connecting, boom, and then you're connected to...
But a lot of them needed gravel, maybe.
Why? You can't even heat gravel up.
All right, moving on. Amelia buys her first plane in 1921. Describe it. We know what you did. You described the whole scene. Everyone remembers that.
Say it, Forrest. Repeat what I said.
You got a little point from me here because you said she painted it.
Yeah.
And she did paint it.
Swastikas, mostly.
Yeah.
It was a different time back then. People had different opinions.
No.
History has judged her badly.
She painted it yellow and called it the canary. It was 17.
Which is a crime against humanity in its own way, isn't it? Terrible colour.
It had a 17-foot wingspan and 60 horsepower.
That's good.
And then in her first plane, what did she use it for? Jim said twisters, to get away from twisters.
Right.
Get away from
Daytona.
fucking twisters. Down at Toluca Lake.
You said Daytona for some reason. I don't know why Daytona
She
was.
flew to Daytona to go crazy.
Just the races.
Spring break.
Yeah, showed her tits. Yeah, cool.
I'm never. Hey, Forrest, come on now.
I'm sorry.
We're all here for fun. We try to keep it decent, though, mate.
Sorry, everybody. So what? It wasn't Twisters, right?
It wasn't. No, she took it to school. She used it as her transportation, which is why you got to look
because
at the
she was
points
poor, everyone.
I'm so with you now, Jim. I'm
Because
so
she
with you.
was poor. Whilst at school, after saving up to buy the gravel truck, driving the gravel truck, buying an aeroplane, painting it yellow. Then what did she do? Oh, would she cross the Atlantic? Oh, no. Did she use it to bring medicine to people in remote areas? Oh, you'd be wrong again. She flew it to school because she was poor.
The student newspaper described her as the student aviatrix.
Oh, bloody... they wrote a fucking hit piece on me. I don't know what to talk.
Amelia breaks her first flying record in October of 1922. What was it? Jim said crashed into the water.
It was
It's a repeating answer.
altitude. She was the first woman to fly to 14,000 feet.
I haven't got a member of my family who can spell altitudes. I got to give credit where credit's due.
And she almost crashed that time, though, I'll give you that. She hit fog and had to deliberately put her plane into a tailspin so that she could pull out of it and avoid crashing.
She's very, very good pilot. She's very good. Right till the end. Well, no.
Why did Amelia Earhart first become internationally famous? You said because she crossed the Atlantic.
Yeah.
That's a good guess.
Yeah.
It was a good guess, but I want to qualify it. Because she was the first woman to cross the Atlantic, but she wasn't flying the plane. The first time that she crossed the Atlantic, she was a passenger. And she was the first woman to ride a plane.
So
across
did
the
she
Atlantic.
give the other passengers drinks, or
No.
if they wanted a blanket or something?
Yeah.
No.
No.
They're there for safety,
No.
Jim. Come on.
It was nice. So it was 1928. It was 1 year after Charles Lindbergh had
That was
done
back
it.
when the stewardesses were hot. Have you seen them? Have you seen them these days? Bloody hell! Back in the day, with the pillbox hat in the 60s, they were bloody in the 60s. None of those women have retired, have they?
No, not yet. No, not yet.
If you go on a plane, the original ones still there. I gave up my seat for one of them.
Oh.
I said, I'll stand. Oh, I'm a terrible person.
No, supporter of women. Yeah. One of the things the newspapers all... Oh, were you done with that answer?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things the newspapers all mentioned was Amelia Earhart's uncanny resemblance to whom? You said Tammy Earhart, her sister, who was a bridge champion. Did she have a sister?
She had a sister.
Are these different people?
Those are all the same.
That's her.
It's all her, but
She-
I kept finding photos that she looked kind of different, so I give you 3 options.
Oh, okay, so I have to pick who she looked like.
No, this is her.
Yeah.
This is 3 different photos of her.
You have to pick who that looks like.
Yeah, who do you think?
But she obviously would be the most famous one that looks like this. So if I don't know much about her, how will I know anything about the person she looks like? It's not like I'm going to go Emma Stone, final answer. It has to be someone way back in the fucking 1920s.
Yeah, it was bad.
So how many women do I know from the 1920s? Who was the other one? I don't know.
The other one what?
The other woman in the 1920s. I don't fucking know.
You want to tell them the answer,
Yeah,
Tom?
it was Charles Lindbergh.
I knew there wasn't another one.
She was nicknamed Lady Lindy because she looks a lot like
Not
Charles
good.
Lindbergh.
Can we get
And what did
Charles
he look
Lindbergh?
like?
Yeah, pull him up.
Let's see what Charles Lindbergh looks like.
Yeah.
What did Linny look like?
We're getting it.
Was Linny married?
Charles Lindbergh was married. His baby was famously kidnapped.
Lindbergh baby.
The Lindbergh baby kidnapping in
Kidnapped.
1932.
I remember that.
Because pilots became huge celebrities. They were the astronauts of the 20s.
There he is.
See what I mean? And that was the thing. I read about it, and it was part of the reason why she was selected. If I may,
Maybe there was a old bloke that they're both their grandfather back in the day who had highly flying sperm.
maybe
Just
landed
spreading
in
it around
Kansas.
America willy-nilly like a farmer in a field, and then a couple of Lindbergh babies came out.
Oh. That's a great.
My sperm's good for deep diving if anyone's interested.
Amelia Earhart endorses and appears in ads for a number of products. One gets her in trouble and stirred controversy. What was it? And you very seriously said sanitary pads. You were very serious about this.
People
one.
fucking needed them.
I know, but
People needed them. You need to know where to buy them. There's probably different brands. You want to
said it
have
was
the
a good
best
answer.
one.
It was a good answer. It's why you got your feminist teacher gave you minor points for it, despite
Thanks.
how terribly wrong it was. It was cigarettes.
Why did she get in trouble? Because there's nothing wrong with cigarettes back then.
See, this is the thing. So I told you this first transatlantic flight, she's a passenger, right? And that's because there was a competition. Who would be the first woman to ride one of these planes across the ocean? And there were a lot of people who were trying to be the first one. And she was sort of selected, in part because she was what they considered the right kind of woman, which during the early 1920s meant she didn't drink and she didn't smoke. And she was elegant and she was feminine. She wasn't fucking lesbian and she didn't look like a fucking lesbian, even though it was a little bit like
Oh,
And they...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the lesbians.
And so they...
And to
they
the people who
chose
like
her.
lesbians, I'm sorry to them as well.
She
'Cause
was-
I have a lot of lesbians in my life that I'm very fond of, so I'd like to make
and now
an
you're gonna
apology.
love Amelia Earhart because she was crafted like the Hunger Games. Like they wanted her to look a certain way, and her resemblance to Charles Lindbergh was a huge pro. In the
He
column
looked like a
on why
lesbian,
she's-
though. You gotta admit. you have to, like, when the rubber hits the road, that cunt looked like a fucking lesbian.
Right. But when their girl appeared in a cigarette ad, everyone lost their fucking minds. 'cause-
I thought cigarettes were good. This is the one your doctor says to smoke. I thought it was all that type of
Only
stuff.
if you're a certain
Oh,
guy,
you
but
have
it
a
was-
sore throat? Have I got the cure? Yes, I have. Like that.
Only for naughty. It was still always naughty girls smoked. Always.
Yes, they're the ones you want to meet.
Right.
They're the only reason I ever smoked.
Me too.
Girls who smoked were the best.
Okay.
Okay.
When Amelia, now an international celebrity, first flew across the U.S., she discovered a new hazard on America's runways. What was it? You said birds. You were going to say something that would get you
I was
canceled.
joking. I just couldn't come up with an answer.
Oh, yeah, birds.
No, I had something.
It was the general public. People,
Ah,
they were
yes.
they were so entranced they would run towards the propellers. They'd get in the way. They didn't know how long it took for a plane to stop, and then once the plane did stop, they would try to take souvenirs. They put holes in the wings and they try to take parts of the wheel, and it was like cannibals like running out to the airways. It was scary.
It's because you Americans need more social services. if you had more fucking housing and you know, like medicine for all, you know, you wouldn't be tearing wings off like fucking savages.
Was she ever married?
Yes, she married her
Because
publisher.
she wasn't a lesbian, everyone. She got married.
She married a guy named George P. Putnam, who is one of the biggest publishers in
Give us a
United
picture of
States.
Putnam. Give us a picture of Putnam.
And George P. Putnam was the manager and publisher for Charles Lindbergh. He was the manager and publisher for Richard Byrd, who was the North Pole explorer. And he knew that the first woman to travel the Atlantic to fly planes would sell a lot of books.
Is that Amelia there?
No, that's his first
That
wife.
right?
Okay, so
okay.
they traded
Nothing
them.
wrong with her. Nothing
So-
wrong with her. I was about to go, Amelia looks good in that one. I was about to give her a big compliment and redeem myself.
Yeah.
And it was his first fucking...
So George P. Putnam, his first wife and him are married for 15 years. They have 2 kids.
Yeah.
They get divorced. She gets married to another guy like 2 weeks later.
Of course, she's fucking
And
hot commodity.
He proposes to Amelia Earhart 6 times in 2 years, and she says no 5 times.
So no 5 times. So she was very up and down,
Wow.
which was her biography.
Wow.
Where did Amelia Earhart land at the end of her transatlantic solo flight? You said London, and the first people to see her were the king and the queen, the king that stutters.
No. So she, after being a passenger...
Agree to disagree.
In 1928, she was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic as a passenger, and you and she agreed that doesn't count. And she got a ticker tape parade, and she was a huge celebrity, but she wanted to fly it. And she wanted to fly it alone. So she flies the Atlantic solo in 1932. She's the second human to have done it outside of Charles. I'll tell you that. Charles Lindbergh did it.
Why did
first.
she want to do it alone?
Well, at the moment, no one had been able to do it with 2 people because it was too heavy. So if you're doing the math on the kinds of planes that are available and fuel, you can only really afford to take the weight of.
But how was she a passenger then?
That was a different kind of plane.
Could she not fly that one?
That needed more crew. Yeah. So if she wanted to fly solo, which is what Lindbergh did, she had to take a Vega, which is the plane that she takes. And
Painted it yellow.
that was a different one. That was the Canary. And then she lands, but she does get lost. And she wanted to land in London, so you did get a point there. But she lands in Londonderry, which is in Northern Ireland, which they reacted exactly the way you described.
No, I was doing Newcastle, England, but I'll take Northern Ireland.
Yeah, they were. It was the
Belfast.
gallery.
Oh my God, there's a plane.
Yeah.
Big fucking plane.
It was May, and they were farmers, and they sat there, they heard it, they saw it, and then it landed, and the farm hands ran out, and then a woman got out, and they panicked.
Fucking can't believe this happened on Sunday. Bloody Sunday. Okay. No, I'm sorry, man. That was a terrible thing. We can't. I'm sorry.
I thought that was good.
Yeah, it's an atrocity. I'll blame it on you too.
Kelly, where were you?
The transatlantic solo flight was not easy, and she almost didn't make it. What were some of her challenges during the crossing? Jim said she's dyslexic.
Is she ever?
Is
she ever?
I put
Her real name is Malia.
Yeah, it was really sketchy. So 10 people had died trying this between Charles Lindbergh and her. And nobody had successfully done it solo. And so they knew some of the challenges, and it was weather right away. And so it took about 20 hours, and she would fly high enough, then all of her gauges broke, so she didn't know her altitude. Then her gas gauges broke, she didn't know how much fuel she had. So she would just fly up to avoid weather until her instruments started to freeze over. And then she'd get low enough until she saw the waves of the weather. And then she'd go high enough until her gauges started freezing. And then a manifold broke, and hot fire fumes started shooting out from the back, and she got really lost. I mean, it was harrowing.
That's, you think of planes now, autopilot, all
none of that,
technology in the world.
And she had no radio contact with anybody, so she just had to kind of eyeball it, and that was why she ended up in a farmer's field.
So no music to listen to, nothing?
No podcasts, no.
Would it be an audio book?
No, not one.
How did she make most of her money? Was it gardening?
No, it was lectures.
Oh, yes, and how to be rich.
Lectures, public.
Here, buy a gravel truck for
Yeah, she had brutal, but her tour...
Homework for last week.
I would give
Have you all bought your gravel trucks?
She did a lot. I mean, it was her touring schedule was brutal.
What was she attempting to do when she was lost? Jim said she was texting her husband.
No, that was mean-spirited of me.
She was attempting to be the first person, male or female, to fly around the world at the equator.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Not non-stop, of course. She had them out.
It's bloody hot, that.
Very warm.
Very
yeah.
hot, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Muggy.
At times, yeah.
Yeah, you don't even know what season it is. Fucking same all the time. I've been on the equator.
Hot. Yeah.
No good.
No. Doesn't matter how high you go.
You don't want to go too far away from it. You want to stay close to it. Lovely temperature, close to it. Don't go too far away. It gets too cold.
Okay, I'm gonna write this.
In the middle.
I didn't know it.
She would have been warm the whole trip.
Excellent.
Fuck is
So observation.
All right, how far in her journey was she when she was lost? Jim says 2,100 miles, according to his calculations.
No, well, she started, the original intention was to go west to east from California to Hawaii, that way around the world. And she crashed taking off from Hawaii. So she got from California to Hawaii, crashed bad. The plane had to be repaired, a bunch of things changed, and they had to lay low for a couple months. And by the time they got ready to do it again, they went from west to east. So they went from Florida that way around the world.
Wait. So she went to Hawaii. What happened in
Yeah.
Hawaii? I missed that.
She crashed so she landed safely in Hawaii.
And then waited for the Hawaiians to fix it?
No, it was just how long, you
Like,
can't...
that could have been one of the trouble. I reckon in Hawaii they didn't have a lot of plane technology at that stage.
Well, they didn't, they took it to Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, but this is before the Second World War.
But it's
This isn't-
between the world wars.
Yeah,
This is 1930.
So we already when Amelia Earhart was rocking, we already had Pearl Harbor with battleships with
No.
fucking planes taking off battleships.
No, they had not yet been bombed, but there was a station there.
Yeah, but with planes?
Yes, because it was between world wars. So World War I introduced
Oh,
planes
okay.
into warfare, and this is in 1937, which is 2 years before Germany invades Poland.
Before that, catapults, wasn't it?
Right.
Right.
And so she leaves Burbank, California. Hey!
That's us.
Yay! She lands in Hawaii. The plan is we're going to leave now because that's a long ways to go.
Yeah, but fucking beautiful.
And she has to leave from Hawaii. Then the plan is to go to this tiny little island called the Howland Island, which is basically a glorified sandbar in the Pacific. And they had built a runway just
Is
for
that
her.
gone yet?
No, it's still there.
Ah, then the water level's not rising, is it? like if it was fucking, if that thing existed then and it isn't fucking gone, I don't care anymore. I'm stopped putting effort into anything. I used to be right into the environment. Now you tell me that thing's not fucking gone.
It's slightly
Right before
more
the show,
than
you sold me a trash can that you loved.
Yeah, I like it.
That's really good.
You got to check this thing out, right? There's these fucking trash cans that the guy in Australia's invented that's cleaned up Sydney Harbour. They put the trash cans, this is the invention, 1 millimetre below the water. So the trash all just scoops in there and then it rises up the bucket through the weight and all the water sifts out and then it collects all the stuff. It cleaned up the whole harbour. They've just cleaned Marina Del Rey with these trash cans underneath the water. The water's never been so fucking clean of junk and fucking mess. About 200 years ago or 150 years ago, before the invention of the car or whatever, there was a man at the patent office wanted to shut the patent office down, right? Because, and I quote, he said, everything that's ever been invented has already been invented. There's nothing more we can invent. It's all fucking here, right? And I was starting to think that way about the world. We've got AI technology, we've got all this fucking shit. Everything's been fucking invented. And we missed out on bins slightly below the water. We invented that in 2020. And it was a couple of Australian blokes. Put a bin there. Well, that won't catch it. Put it 1 millimetre below the water. Put holes in it so it all strains out. The stuff gets caught. Great. Fix the fucking harbour.
Jack's got it
Fucking-
if you want to see it. And it's better if you see it, I think.
Show the fucking bin.
Majority of my childhood was always within the water.
Fast forward, man.
I just saw a thing on
Being
Instagram.
out there.
Show me the Instagram thing. Just show me Instagram post.
There's no
Fins
massive ocean
underwater.
storms. It's a controlled environment. It catches everything floating in the water.
It just sits
Plastic
there.
bottles, paper, oil, fuel.
Cleans the
and
whole
detergent.
surface.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Another good thing with the location of this.
It cleans every bottle, every bit of shit. You put these bins in, it all just fucking goes away. How the fuck did we miss this? What's that?
How come you didn't do abs like this when I was on the phone?
No, this is the first thing I've been passionate about in decades.
Unpaid ad.
I have gun control and bins under the water. Fuck, I love bins under the water. I mean, I've only found out today. I've been telling everyone.
We'll try to get him as a sponsor.
They sell themselves. They don't need to do any fucking advertising. They're bins under fucking water, man. Fucking, that's the invention. Do you know how, like, they have best inventions, right? In Australia, one time, Australian invention of the year is, you know how we have holes in cans that are this size, right? But in larger cans and beer cans now, we have the holes bigger, like that. In the 80s, we never had that. 90s, we never had that. Early 2000s, we made the hole bigger. And that was an Australian invention of the year. Right? No bullshit. Guy goes into his boss, beer factory. I want to talk to you. I'm a busy man. You can't just barge in here, but I have something you need to hear. What are you going to tell me? You know the holes in the cans? There are no holes in the cans. The liquid just fall out. We don't put holes in the cans. You know how we make the hole? Oh, the drinky hole. Yes, I am following. What about the drinky hole? Make it a little bit bigger.
Drinky hole.
People would drink more. We'd sell more. We'll give it a go.
We got to get back to Amelia Earhart. All right.
Oh, is that still going?
Yeah. There's 4 questions left. We're almost there. So she was lost. 21. Where did you were saying? Yeah.
She was lost on her way to this Howland Island, this tiny little basic
That's where
sandbar.
she vanished.
That was where, on her way there. Yeah, that was where she vanished.
What if the bins find her body?
But I was, the bins.
Like, what if that's what solves this fucking mystery? What if those fucking bins just fucking have her hand with her fucking wedding ring on it? There's no fucking debate. That's Amelia all fucking day.
Yeah, that'd be great. She was, to be fair, more than 3/4 of the way around the world, because after she crashed the whole thing, she had to change her plans. She went the other way, and she got all the way back from Florida to Papua New Guinea, and she was supposed to
Where
land.
all the best airplane engineers were living at the time.
Yes. And she had
If
to
you
land.
break down in Papua New Guinea, there was a bloke there to fix it, I'll tell you.
And it was the same place. She was heading to this Howland Island, the same place she was heading the first time she tried. So she was very nearly done with her circumnavigation.
Is that the answer to the next question? What was unusual, difficult about
the Howland Island that
Yeah,
she was
those
trying to
sands.
land on this tiny. It was basically 1.5 miles wide. It was so small that even on a clear day, it could look like the shadow of a cloud.
Yeah.
Why is that not underwater?
Yeah. And you were like, fuck it. You were like, fuck it. And then you were back in with the bits.
How did I go there?
Yeah.
All right, I'm back here. That should be underwater.
So Amelia Earhart was not alone in her plane when it vanished. Who was with her? Jim said hearts and minds. There's children everywhere. And Rock Hudson.
No, she was not going alone.
Baby Rock Hudson, though.
Yeah, right now.
He was just a baby.
Baby Rock.
He was. I don't know who he was.
Still very handsome.
She had a navigator named Fred Noonan, and he was with her, and he was drunk. He was a dangerous, scary drunk. And
Where was he getting his alcohol from? Air stewardess?
Wherever they landed. I mean,
They should have cut him off.
They crashed. The first time they crashed, they had like 3 months before they got the band back together to try again. And he had gotten married and divorced in the meantime and was just a
Of course he is. He's a flying drunk.
She was a mess. Yeah. So she had a guy named Fred Noonan.
He
who
was just
with her.
sitting up the front with Amelia Earhart with those little tiny vodka bottles.
All right, last question. A popular conspiracy theory suggested that Amelia Earhart didn't die but was captured by the Japanese. Who was the first to suggest this theory? Jim said the Chinese.
Not just one Chinese. All Chinese.
It was actually the U.S. government through a propaganda film in 1943 called Flight to Freedom. And it was a movie about a fictional female pilot who disappears in the Pacific attempting a circumnavigational tour of the world. And that she had to come up with this cover story that she was trying to do this circumnavigation of the globe so that she could crash into Japanese territory and be this high covert spy. And the reason people in the movie suggested this because she was really good friends with Eleanor Roosevelt, and she had asked,
were we not getting along with Japanese people then? Was that a bad?
Correct. I mean,
no good.
Was
it just the Second World War? Is a bit before
Not
we
great.
went. What were we upset about then?
We had a hunch where the lines were being drawn by then. This is 1937, so Germany invades Poland in 1939. Pearl Harbor is bombed in 1941. The U.S. gets involved in 1942, and this is 1937. So
Right. So
shit's cooking.
there's already
Shit's cooking.
people walking around this country going, "I'm not trying fucking raw fish."
And FDR, right? And one of the theories, right?
Yeah, that's what it would have been like. That's what those fucking people do, I tell you.
Yeah.
What about ramen?
No, we call that a noodle bowl.
All right, this is a part of our show called Dinner Party Facts. We ask our expert to give us a.
Wait a
fact.
minute, how did she die?
What do you mean? How did she die?
Did anyone really figure
crashed.
it out? Yeah, she crashed.
She
but anyone-
disappeared, so she's the folks are waiting for her on Howland Island. They're waiting. They know she's left New Guinea, and they're waiting.
How do you think she died? Was it her controls? Was it the drunk guy going whoa, whoa on the stick like this?
Yeah.
Fuck off, will ya? Whoa!
So she had a number of communication devices on board, one of which required a 250-foot antenna cable that you had to manually unroll.
She
for
ran out
it
of
to-
cable.
And she likely maybe lost that when the first crash. Like there's some confusion about what kind of communication devices she actually had on board and what was working. But there were ships stationed outside of Howland Island, and their whole job was to ping Amelia and to try to help her because this was going to be a difficult deal. And they would pick her up and they'd hear her occasionally, but she couldn't hear them, and they knew she couldn't hear them because they weren't responding. And they didn't have her long enough to get a location. She would get fainter, meaning she was getting further away, and then she'd get clearer, meaning they were closer, but she would say, "I can't see you," and they were like, "We can't see you," and no one knew why. And one of the ideas is this island was so small it looked like a shadow. And
One of Cliff Richard's band.
Yeah, that was what they said too. And
Someone
they-
just said Epstein Island.
She was too old.
I think we've just solved that mystery.
Yeah, she was 39. She never would have been allowed.
Yeah. She might have been like that lady bringing them there, though.
Maybe.
She could have worked for Jeffrey. Let's start that rumor.
Okay. But the theory they don't know, and they did one of the largest searches in history looking for her, and they never found a trace. So technically, we still don't know where she went, which is where conspiracy theories have room. Now, I don't know, some of you guys know recently, this year, there was a sonar company, brand new sonar, that has found a plane underwater that is the shape of the plane that was lost. It's about 100 miles
Right,
off
so that would
of
be the
Howland
two
Island.
wing in the middle bit shape.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's, that was one of a kind, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I do have I have a dinner party fact, and then I have a little thing just because I was here for Titanic last time. I wanted to highlight that Amelia Earhart's first transatlantic flight was only 16 years after Titanic sank. And the reason that's significant is because the Titanic was the fastest thing across the Atlantic. It took 6 days. And this is 16 years later, and we got flights that can do it in 20 hours.
Imagine if where she crashed was into the Titanic.
No, it's totally, that was the North Atlantic. But that's not my dinner party fact.
You're not good at geography, are you? That's not even close.
I've travelled the world.
Yeah. North Atlantic, South Pacific was the
I
difference.
mostly watch episodes of The Office while I do.
No, I'm really excited about the dinner party fact because
Say it, yeah.
okay, so when Amelia was planning her solo transatlantic flight, similar to the first one, it was like competition and everyone's trying to figure out who's going to do it first and what kind of plane and how they have to augment the plane to even make it possible and all this stuff. And one of the guys working in Burbank, in top secret, on Amelia Earhart's plane, is a guy named Edwin Aldrin, who is Buzz Aldrin's dad. Yeah. And what's nuts about that is that he was in charge of her fuel distribution. So Buzz Aldrin's dad took Amelia Earhart's plane up dozens of times with sandbags to do the math on the fuel, and then he'd throw the sandbags out to determine once fuel had burned how it would go. And this was in 1932. And his son walks on the moon in 1969, which means Buzz
No one can really prove that.
theoretically.
Right, so let's not say anything that we're going to
Our moon landing experts over there.
Well, why is this table not rolling off? Why is it just staying flat like this? Why aren't we all fucking whoa? Because it's fucking flat and you know it is.
Well,
Good point. Good point.
true. I stand corrected. I'm so embarrassed. But Buzz Aldrin's dad, Edwin Aldrin, was fucking
If
alive.
he existed.
For 1966, he worked on Amelia Earhart's plane, right? And in 1966, he saw his son spacewalk, and in 1969, he saw his son walk on the moon. I think that's really fucking cool.
Yeah. So he must have known Kubrick very well, I imagine.
What year did Buzz punch that guy? That's one of my favorite videos in the world.
I know.
Let's finish up with a podcast with Buzz Aldrin punching a guy.
Yeah. You know the video, right?
Yeah, it's one of my favourite things. This will be the first time I've watched it without my dick out.
Prove it! Prove it! Prove it!
It's brilliant. It's because he's fucking the toughest cunt in the fucking room. And this guy comes up to him. The guy who comes up to him, he's saying the moon landing didn't happen. The moon landing didn't happen. The moon landing didn't happen. He's just trying to get on with his fucking day. And then Buzz just clocks the cunt.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
Swear on the Bible.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
I'm not trying to get
You tell him to get out of here.
This is a hotel.
We'll call the police. We pay.
Come
on in here, we'll call the police.
Solicit on
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
It doesn't, sir. I have nothing to do with this. But you cannot solicit on this property.
We just paid to rent out the penthouse to shoot up there. So
You can't solicit like this on this property.
keep.
All right. Well, then I'd go through my measures.
You got to keep shooting, man.
Works great.
Okay. Put it on your shoulder. Don't be shy.
Come with me, Buzz.
You really like it?
Wait a minute. I don't remember this
Said
bit.
you walked on the moon. Is this the video? Calling the kettle black. If I ever thought of it. Say
Yeah, here it is.
Get it away from me. You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
It was when he called him a coward. When he said he was a coward.
You're a coward and a liar. And he's like, he fucking put up with that cunt the whole fucking time. And it doesn't matter that that guy was right. He still deserved to be punched. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the podcast.
That's not the end of it. That's just this thing playing stuff.
So sorry, that was just an ad.
What was that?
I don't know, an ad started
This is the ad after the punch.
What were we advertising for free then? We should ring him up, get a few shekels.
I think so. Just a few shekels.
Are we doing the ad or no?
We should finish first and then we'll do the ad after.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, Don Brody. Everybody, give it up for Don Brody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very funny.
Thanks for having me.
You're always a joy to have on,
I
Don.
love
Always a
being here.
joy.
Yeah, Don is great. Please listen to their podcast. Subscribe to it. Health History. I'd like to fuck. And
Bit sordid. Don't like that type of talk, but very
Instagram Don_Brody and Health Podcast as well. Follow that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, give Forrest, Dawn, and I want to say Jack a round of applause, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm going to read an ad now. Let's do ads.
No. That's not how you end the podcast.
I want to do an ad.
We've done like a.
This bit. Okay. If you're ever at a party and someone walks up to you and says that Amelia Earhart, she fucking she didn't crash. She was poor. You go, well, I don't know about that, and walk away. Good night, Australia. Yeah.